Hello, everybody. My name is Cynthia Gallardo, your leading legacy lawyer, and I am so excited to be here today with the legacypreneur. That's you. You are an entrepreneur and or an intrapreneur with a legacy. And we're here to talk about how you can protect and preserve your legacy with a very specific tool, a trademark to protect your legacy. So let's go ahead and get started. Once again, as I mentioned, my name is Cynthia Gallardo, your leading legacy lawyer. Thank you so much for joining today. And I am so excited about you being here. So just to give you an idea, we'll be here together for about the next 20 to 25 minutes to talk about how I can help you protect and preserve your legacy with the trademark. And as I mentioned before, I really like to speak to each of you as legacypreneurs because you either are an entrepreneur, you have your own business, and you are looking to build and enhance your legacy and protect that, or you are what we call an intrapreneur, and that's where you have the same skill set as an entrepreneur, right? That basic core skill set, and you utilize it within a corporation or an organization to help that particular organization grow and develop. So either way, whether you're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, you are a legacypreneur. So congratulations to that. And we'll talk about how you can protect and preserve your legacy with the trademark. So we'll take basically four key steps we'll go through. And I do want to tell you, first of all, this is like a personal and I would say legal consultation. It's not specific legal advice because we haven't yet established an attorney-client privilege. Yet I'll share with you information, general information. And if you have questions for me, I'm definitely more than happy to assist you. And also you'll determine, is a trademark right for you? And you'll have an opportunity to book a free strategy session with me. And I'll open it up to any questions if you have any as well. Okay? So you are in the right place. I just want you to know if you have heard you need a trademark, but you aren't sure where to get started, or you're just curious on how long the process will take and what's involved, a great question. Or maybe you're wondering why you just can't do it yourself online, right? And I can guarantee you can do it online. I'm very open and authentic with individuals. The USPTO.gov site or the United States Patent and Trademark Office .gov, USPTO.gov. Once again, United States Patent and Trademark Office has great information there. It has a boot camp regarding trademarks, also patents, great information, and also copyright information. I do want you to know that's out there and available, but I always ask the question, do you really have time to go through that? Sometimes it's just best to delegate those things that you don't have time to do and no need to get done, right? And delegate it to an expert. So those are the three things I just wanted to highlight immediately here. The other thing is I want you to know that here's my contact information. It's available to you. I can be reached at 337-517-3977, and you have my direct email there as well. And I am a practicing attorney in the state of Louisiana. I'm barred in Louisiana, so I can practice estate law here, such as wills and trusts, which is what I do, estate planning in the state of Louisiana. And then I also practice federal law, which is what trademark law falls under, or what you call intellectual property. That falls under that category. And I'm able to assist anyone in the 50 United States, and even internationally, I can assist from that perspective. I am an attorney or lawyer by trade. I am also an author, a speaker, and a business coach or business consultant as well. So just so you know, I am a credible person. I'm a part of many different organizations, and I have a great network of individuals. In fact, I talk a lot about the word synergy. Synergy, it's one of my favorite words. That's SYNERGY. That's SYNERGY, one of my favorite words. It means the whole is greater than the individual parts. And I always tell people your network is basically what makes you more effective. And I'm a part of great networks here. I'm a part of the Louisiana State Bar Association, what we call the Wealth Council member, as well as an attorney. And that's to help my estate planning clients. I'm also part of the Lafayette Bar Association, a part of the American Bar Association, a part of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. I practice that aspect for under legacy as well. And then I'm also a National Entrepreneurs Association graduate. So I just wanted to share that information with you. And the other thing, I love this chart here. And as I mentioned, I give credit where credit is due. I did find this at the USPTO.gov site. It gives you a great explanation of the difference between a trademark, a copyright, and a patent. Today, we're going to talk about trademarks. That's our focus or priority here as a tool to help you protect and preserve your legacy. So basically, a trademark is a word, a phrase, a design, or a combination of those that identifies your goods or services, and it distinguishes them from the goods or services of others and indicates the source of your goods or services. In a nutshell, you can trademark three key things. First, your name, your business name, any tagline, slogan you may have, and then also the logo or design or a combination of those as mentioned. So I give the example here of Coca-Cola, right? You see the R with the circle. It's been registered with the federal government. That's Coca-Cola. You think of Nike, all those big brands out there, those have been registered with the federal government. Then what are the benefits, right? You want to know what's in it for me if I trademark my brand, my name, my tagline, slogan, my logo. Well, that protects you, your trademark, from being registered by others without permission in that particular category or class, and helps you prevent others from using a trademark that is similar to yours with related goods or services. We definitely don't want to confuse the clients out there, the audience, so to speak, the consumer out there, right? You want to make sure you are unique, just as we know you are, in a positive way. Then we come out to some common objections. A lot of times people say, well, I'm already registered in my state. I just started my business, or I don't have enough money to do it. Well, I'll address each of those individually. I'm already registered in my state. That's great, and I definitely encourage that. Yet keep in mind that's within your state. You want protection from a federal perspective within all the 50 United States, and then carrying it out into the international as a next step for your trademark strategy plan. And then also you say, I just started my business. Well, you know what? Every business has to start at some point, right? You think of Nike, you think of Coca-Cola, you think of Amazon, McDonald's, all those big businesses out there started at some point. So you always want to plan ahead for the future. What if you say, I don't have enough money to need it? I can guarantee if you have $1, if you're starting your business, you definitely want to make sure you protect and preserve your legacy. I always tell people you have a great idea. Make sure you prevent others from taking that from you. And trust me, I've seen both ends where it's protected, and then I've seen the other aspect where it's not protected. And unfortunately, that great idea, that great name, tagline, slogan, or logo is taken from someone as if a carpet is taken from under your feet. And that's exactly what it feels like. So what's the risk to your legacy, your legacy, if you don't have a trademark? Well, I can tell you it's definitely a risk because you are not protected. You don't have that legal right to be able to send that cease and desist or to be able to protect what you've created. So I'll give you an example here. The goals of trademarking are a word, phrase, design, or a combination of those that designs that good or service, right? And it distinguishes you from other goods and services. Bottom line, you're leaving your positive mark, that footprint in the community around you with friends and family, that positive fingerprint, footprint, that positive lasting mark on the community, in the world as well. You're protecting your legacy. You're preserving your legacy because it's not only now, but it's also into the future. You pass on those values and ideals to the children, grandchildren, the community, the world, those around you. You're maximizing your assets. That means your intellectual property gains value. And I say gains because it already has value. But if you add that protection, you're adding value to your intellectual property. And I always give the example. Let's say one day you decide you want to either pass it on or sell your business. Well, obviously having that trademark, that protection is going to add value to that, right? That monetary cha-ching value to your intellectual property. And let's say you decide to franchise one day. That's a key process or step in the process of passing on that business. Now, it also prevents others from using a trademark that is similar to yours within a related good or service or class, as I like to call it. Then we come to 5 trademark steps. I always tell people I'm a big picture person. I like to see the big picture first, and then we'll go into the details. So here, 5 basic steps for the trademark process. Name your business, product, or service. Identify the trademark to protect. Conduct the search. Complete the trademark application, and then maintain and enforce your rights. It's so important to make sure this is part of your trademark strategy plan. And I always tell people it's okay to ask for help. It's just like in anything in the world, right? If it's not our area of expertise, who do we go to? Somebody that can help us from that perspective. So I just want to make sure you understand the importance of knowing the steps and then protecting your legacy. So, do you have a trademark strategy plan? I always ask that question. Just like you have a medical plan, just like you have a financial plan, just like you have an estate plan, so important to have a trademark strategy plan to protect and preserve your legacy. You might think you do, but do you really? A state registration is not enough, as I mentioned earlier. Federal protection is critical to protect and preserve your legacy. So doing nothing means you may have a specific geographic priority, but not a national legal right. And I always give the example of Burger King. In the case of Burger King, we all know, right? The Whopper. You may have even tasted a Whopper. I know I have. I love that taste, that grilled taste that it has. Well, did you know that Burger King was actually started by a small mom and pop restaurant? They started it within their specific geographic location, their state. Somebody else came and noticed, ooh, I like that name Burger King. I think I'm going to start my own restaurant with Burger King. That individual, that second group, they registered with the USPTO.gov site or the government, right? The federal government. It's first come, first serve when you support or submit your application. So at that point, this other restaurant had more of a right as opposed to the smaller restaurant, the mom and pop, who did not submit an application to the USPTO or USPTO. In that case, if you go to court, the one who's going to win from a big perspective, right? The smaller mom and pop could make a case that they were first to use it in that particular location. They had the rights to it now in that location. Yet the other organization or restaurant who submitted the application has that national right, minus that one small geographic location. So I always ask the question, which would you prefer to be? The one who has it in the 49 other states and even within that own state, but outside of that geographic location? Or would you prefer to be that one that has the right in that geographic location? Well, I leave that question open to you. I know which one is the best option from overall legacy perspective. Then we get to the next piece here. Well, the default plan means you just don't have a trademark strategy plan. So if someone can come and take your ideas, take your legacy that you worked so hard to establish. Also, you're not protecting your business, your legacy with the tools that you actually have available. You're only using limited tools at that point. And then you're not thinking as a visionary. There's no future payout to you and or that legacy you're leaving, right? That generational legacy that you want to establish. So I definitely encourage you to think about those key pieces. It's so important to protect and preserve your legacy. Then I want to take you through the journey of the trademark process overall. These are the 5 key steps. Once you submit the application, the additional steps that fall under that. So previously we talked about the 5 steps reaching this point. Now you or I or we file the trademark application to USPTO. USPTO examines the mark, and normally it's submitted or it's assigned to a USPTO attorney. It's reviewed. If there's any questions, concerns, the USPTO sends back what we call an office action that you have to, administrative office action that you have to respond to within a certain time period. If you do not, you abandon that particular mark. Now, the great thing here is also, even if it's a refusal, you still have an opportunity to respond, right? To really make your case at that point. Then once you get past that point, USPTO publishes the mark. And within that time period of 30 days, it's called the Opposition Gazette. Basically, individuals, outside entrepreneurs out there can basically let individuals know, or let USPTO know that they oppose that particular mark. It's kind of like going to a wedding, and the priest will always ask, or the individual, doing the ceremony will always ask, is there anybody who opposes this marriage at this time? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Same thing here with the USPTO when they publish that mark. This is the opportunity to oppose it. Once it passes that time period, USPTO issues a notice of allowance. This is a great point here. This is when you can actually go out there and you can use it knowing you have that backing from the USPTO office. Now, once it goes through those steps, you receive what we call a registration certificate. USPTO registers that mark. This is when we celebrate. We truly, truly celebrate this fantastic opportunity here. It's an amazing feeling. I will tell you that from the attorney perspective, but also from a client perspective, from you as a legacypreneur perspective. What a great feeling and accomplishment. And I can guarantee you, we would definitely celebrate that. So what are your options? I always tell people you always basically have two options here. You have one where you don't take action, no federal trademark, you just continue as is. Or you have option two where you take action and you start working to submit that trademark and start working to protect and preserve your legacy, your name, business name, your tagline, slogan, and or your logo, or a combination of all of those. So what's the next step? Knowledge is not enough. We know knowledge is power. So what you're gaining today is definitely knowledge. Yet you need to take it a step further and create that trademark strategy plan. What do you need to do? How can you make that happen? When should you get started? And then what's the investment to get it done correctly or get it done right? Those are great questions that are part or fall into your trademark strategy plan. And when you work with me, it's a simple process, 6-step plan to protect and preserve your legacy. That's it, 6 steps. You've already actually accomplishing one by being part of this particular session, right? Or masterclass or webinar, we could call it. So basically, number one, you can check that off. I love checklists. So here's one you can check off with, definitely with some positive attitude there, right? You're attending a class or a webinar. Then number two is you would set up a trademark strategy session with me and or my team. We would go through the details of your particular legacy, and we'd identify what needs to be trademarked and the steps and process involved with that. Then I would basically submit what I call an application to you. You would submit the information back to me, and I would submit the application to the USPTO.gov or USPTO at this point. I would definitely make sure the progress is communicated as we go through that progress. As part of this trademark journey, communication is key and critical, and I'm a strong believer in that. Then we come to the celebration piece. This is where you are basically get past that notice of allowance. You are in the registration zone here. You receive that certificate of registration, and we can celebrate. And that's actually a key part of something that I work with, which is called the synergy blueprint, right? And celebration is a key part of that. So let's talk about costs. This is the question people always ask, right? Well, how much does it cost? Well, I always ask the question with the question, what's the cost of failing to plan? So just think about that. Really take that in, because we know in anything in life, if you don't plan, there is a cost of failing to plan. So I want you to take that into consideration. And I can guarantee you, I will only recommend planning if the amount that will be saved by you planning is more than our fee or more than my fee. And I have great bundles established, because if you want to do one of those, 2 of those, a name and a tagline slogan, or you want to do the name, the tagline slogan, and a logo, I can certainly help you with that. And I want to make sure it's something that's cost effective for all the legacypreneurs out there. So what's the next step? Well, I'm glad you asked. You definitely want to book a trademark strategy planning session with me, which that was step 2 in that 6-step process. And you can do that by going to www.freestrategycallwithcynthia.com. That's www.freestrategycallwithcynthia.com. To set up a call with me, I would love to go through the strategy planning with you, and we can definitely work to establish your specific trademark strategy plan, which I always tell people is very unique to you and your business, to you and your legacy. So I leave that and I open it up to questions. If there's any questions out there, I definitely want to make sure I assist you with those. Please feel free to contact me directly. Once again, my name is Cynthia Gallardo, your leading legacy lawyer, and I'm so excited to be here with you and that you have taken a very important step to protect and preserve your legacy. Once again, I sign off as Cynthia Gallardo, your leading legacy lawyer. Thank you so much for joining me today. You've been fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you.